Vorian. Please. You don't understand what you're doing.
That was the last thing Lord Tauren ever said. The same voice that condemned me to freeze in the snow 3 days ago, now cracking like thin ice under a boot heel. Funny how quickly lords learn to beg when death finally looks them in the eye. I stood over him. This man who locked the gates, who watched me crawl through blood and snow and did nothing, who said my name like it was already a ghost's and walked away without a second glance. I'd dreamed of this moment every frozen second since, played it over and over in my head until it was the only thing keeping my heart beating. I understand perfectly. For the first time in my life, I understand everything. The seal you've broken, He never finished that sentence. My foot came down, and Lord Tauren of Last Hearth became nothing more than a stain on the snow. This is the moment I'd been starving for. 72 hours of hatred compressed into one single strike. His blood steaming in the cold air, his chest caved in beneath my heel, his eyes frozen open in that final expression of disbelief. I waited for the satisfaction to hit, the release, the sweet vindication they sing about in tavern songs. It never came. I tried to remember why I hated him. The rage was there just hours ago, burning so hot I could taste copper on my tongue. Now, when I reached for it, my fingers closed on smoke. On nothing. I remembered a gate closing, snow falling thick as ash, my voice screaming until it tore itself apart. But his face, the face of the man who left me to die, the face I'd just crushed into pulp. Gone. Erased. Like someone reached into my skull and carved it out with a rusty knife. They tell you revenge is fire. They're wrong. Revenge is ash. You burn everything you have to get there. And when you finally arrive, you realize you've forgotten why you came.
You did beautifully, my vessel.
The cage is open. She came from the shadows like she was part of them. Didn't walk, glided. Her feet barely touched the snow, leaving no tracks. The firelight seemed afraid to touch her, bending away like it knew something I didn't. I should describe her for you. I should tell you what she looked like. But the truth is, even now, my mind slides off her image like water off stone. I remember pieces. Skin white as dead birch bark, cracked and ancient. Eyes that weren't eyes, just two holes into forever darker than the space between stars. A smile too wide for a human face, stretching toward her ears like a wound that never healed. She was beautiful. She was terrible. She was wrong in a way that made my bones ache. And I wasn't afraid of her anymore. That should have terrified me. It didn't. You said I'd feel free. You said killing him would release me. I said you would be free. I never said you'd feel anything. Her hand found my shoulder. Cold. Colder than the snow beneath my feet. But familiar now. Expected. Like I'd been waiting for that touch my entire life without knowing it. Feeling is for humans. And you, my beautiful soldier, you're becoming so much more than that. She said it like a gift. Like shedding my humanity was something I should thank her for. And the worst part, the part that keeps me awake in whatever passes for sleep now, is that part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me still does. What have you done to me? The better question is, what have you done to yourself? She gestured at the carnage around us. The burning fortress. The scattered dead. Blood cooling on snow that would never be white again.
I offered. You accepted. Every memory you lost, you chose to lose. Every piece of humanity you burned too. You lit the match yourself. I merely provided the kindling.
You manipulated me.
I showed you a door. You're the one who ran through it. Sprinted, actually. I've watched 1,000 men face that same door over 3,000 years. None of them ran as fast as you. She was right. That's what made it unbearable. Every choice had been mine. Every price I'd paid with my own hands. She hadn't dragged me into darkness, she'd just held up a mirror and shown me how badly I wanted to jump. But if you want to understand, if you want to remember how you became this beautiful broken thing, her finger touched my forehead. Cold at first, then warm, then something else, a golden light bleeding through my vision, pulling me backward through my own mind. Let me show you where it all began. 3 days. That's all it took. 72 hours to go from a wounded soldier begging for mercy to whatever I am now. 3 days ago, I still had a name that meant something. A past worth remembering. A reason to keep my heart beating beyond pure spite. 3 days ago, I still remembered my mother's face. You want to know how a man becomes a monster? Fine, I'll show you. But remember, you asked for this. 3 days earlier, last Hearth. We came back from the war like ghosts returning to a house that no longer recognized them. 300 men had marched north 6 weeks ago. 47 came back. I was one of the lucky ones, still breathing, still moving. Most of me anyway. The wound in my leg wasn't from the dead. That's the joke the gods played on me. I survived 1,000 ice swords and frozen claws only to get crippled by a spooked horse and a frozen rock during retreat. The bone had snapped clean through. I'd felt it break, heard the wet crack echo through the forest. By the time we reached last Hearth, the flesh had turned colors that flesh should never turn. But I was alive, and the gates were open. And for one beautiful, naive moment, I thought the worst was over. Wounded to the left. Walking wounded inside stretcher cases to the courtyard. They sorted us like cattle at market. The men who could still hold a sword went through the main gate. Warm food, warm beds. Heroes welcome. The rest of us, the broken ones, the dying ones, got left in the outer courtyard waiting for healers who never came. I remember lying on that stretcher, staring up at the grey sky, snow falling on my face like cold kisses from a lover who didn't care anymore. I remember thinking, at least I'm inside the walls. At least I'm safe.
This one won't make it through the night.
Vice Commander Merrick, Torin's right hand. He walked past my stretcher without slowing down, marking his ledger with quick, efficient strokes. Alive. Dead. Useful. Useless. That's all we were to him. Numbers on a page. Sir, I can still fight. Just need rest. A day, maybe 2. You can't even stand, soldier. The North has no use for men who can't stand. He walked away. Didn't look back. And I lay there in the snow, watching the sky turn from grey to black, feeling the cold creep deeper into my bones with every passing minute. That's when the horn started blowing.
White Walkers! Close the gates! Close the gates!
I'd heard those horns before. On the battlefield. In my nightmares. 3 blasts meant the dead were coming. 3 blasts meant everything you knew was about to end. The courtyard erupted into chaos. Soldiers running, women screaming, children crying. And through it all, the groaning of those massive wooden gates as they began to swing shut. The gates to the inner keep. The only thing standing between the wounded and the endless dark. Wait! Wait! We're still out here! I crawled. God help me, I crawled on my hands and one good knee, dragging my ruined leg behind me like a dead animal. Every inch was agony. Every heartbeat pumped more poison through my veins. But I could see the gap, that shrinking sliver of torchlight between the closing gates, and I crawled toward it like it was salvation itself. 10 feet, 5 feet, 3 feet. Please, I'm still here, don't! The gates slammed shut in my face. I heard the iron bars slide into place, felt the impact through the frozen ground. And for a moment, everything went silent. Just me and the snow and the certain knowledge that I was going to die out here. Then I looked up and I saw him. Lord Torin stood on the wall above me. Wrapped in furs, torch in hand, staring down at the condemned. At me. My lord, please, open the gates! He didn't answer. Not at first. He just stood there, watching. and I swear I saw something flicker across his face. Doubt, guilt, maybe even sorrow. But it passed. And when he spoke, his voice was steady as stone. The dead have no use for bread, Vorian, and by morning, you'll be one of them. May the old gods give you a quick end. He turned away. The torch disappeared, and I was alone in the dark with 12 other dying men and the sound of the dead drawing closer. Some of the others prayed, some cried. Some just stared at nothing already gone in every way that mattered. Not me. I was too angry to pray, too furious to cry. I'll kill you. I don't care how. I don't care what it costs. I'll tear down those walls with my bare hands and rip out your throat. Hatred. That's what kept me alive when the cold should have taken me. Not hope, not faith. Just pure crystalline hatred, cold and hard and sharp as ice. They say hatred destroys the one who carries it. They're right. But what they don't tell you is that sometimes destruction is the only thing keeping you alive. The night came. The temperature dropped. One by one, the men around me stopped breathing, their bodies curling into themselves like flowers closing for the last time. I watched them die, and I held on to my hatred like a torch in the darkness, because hatred was all I had left. I don't know how long I lay there. Time loses meaning when you're dying. Minutes feel like hours. Hours feel like lifetimes. The cold stops hurting after a while. Did you know that it becomes almost pleasant? Warm even. Your body stops fighting and just surrenders. That's when I knew I was in trouble. When the shivering stopped. When the pain faded to a distant memory. When I started to feel comfortable in the snow. Comfort is just death wearing a gentle mask. I stared up at the sky, watching my breath grow shallower and shallower. Somewhere behind me, the fortress burned blue with unnatural fire. Somewhere ahead, the dead were marching. And somewhere in between, I was slipping away one heartbeat at a time. That's when she came. I didn't hear her approach. There were no footsteps, no rustle of movement. One moment I was alone with the corpses. The next, she was there, kneeling beside me like a mourner at a grave. She didn't belong to this world. I knew that the moment I saw her. She was too still, too pale, too wrong, like a painting that had learned to walk, like a nightmare that had forgotten to wake up. Still alive, still burning. Good. I was beginning to think I'd arrived too late. Her voice didn't come from her mouth. It bloomed inside my skull, like frost spreading across glass, cold and delicate and utterly alien. I wanted to scream, I wanted to run, but my body wouldn't respond. It had already given up. Only my eyes still worked, tracking her as she leaned closer. The smell of ash and resentment. My favorite combination. So much pain, so much guilt. And underneath it all, she paused, her head tilting at an angle that no human spine should allow. Such delicious hatred. When did you last hate something this purely, this completely? What? Are you a friend? A savior? A monster? Take your pick, I've been called all three. But names don't matter right now, do they? What matters is that you're dying, and I can stop it. I should have been afraid. Any sane man would have been. But sanity had left me somewhere around the 5th hour of freezing to death. All I had left was the cold and the dark, and this creature offering me something I'd stopped hoping for.
Why? Why would you help me?
Because the man who locked you out isn't just cruel. He's a jailer. And I've been in his cage for a very, very long time.
She leaned closer until her face filled my vision. Until all I could see were those black voids where eyes should be, and all I could feel was the ancient weight of her attention pressing down on my soul. Kill him and we both go free. Help me and I'll give you the strength to tear down those walls with your bare hands. I'll make you into something that lords and kings will learn to fear.
I'll give you your revenge, Vorian. I'll give you everything.
What's the price? Everything costs something. That's the first truth of this world. But let me ask you this. What have your memories given you? Happiness, peace. She touched my forehead, and suddenly I was drowning in images. My mother's face, my childhood home burning, the woman I'd loved and lost, the boy I'd abandoned to die 3 years ago, reaching for help that never came, or just more reasons to suffer or wait to carry more chains to drag behind you. She pulled her hand away, and the visions faded. But the pain they left behind didn't. Every memory was a wound. Every face was a scar. She was right, my past wasn't a comfort. It was a prison. I can take that weight from you. Every time you use my gift, I'll take a memory in return. A name, a face, a feeling you don't need anymore. You'll become lighter, freer, stronger. And if I refuse, then you die here. Tonight. Forgotten. And the man who murdered you sleeps warm in his bed, never knowing your name. Is that the ending you want? To be nothing, to mean nothing, to matter nothing. I looked at her hand, pale and cold and terrible. I thought about Toran on the wall, about his voice when he condemned me, about the satisfaction I'd feel watching the life drain from his eyes. Some choices change everything. Some doors once opened can never be closed. I knew that. Even then I knew. Take what you need. Just leave me enough to remember his face when he dies. A man after my own heart, if I still had one. I woke in darkness. Not the darkness of night, something deeper. Something that pressed against my eyes like a living thing. The air was thick and wet and smelled of earth and rot and something else. Something old. Something that had been growing in the dark for a very long time.
Where am I?
Home. My home. The place they buried me 3,000 years ago. Welcome to the roots of the world, Vorian. My eyes adjusted slowly. I was lying on a bed of roots, thick red, pulsing faintly like veins carrying blood. Above me, the ceiling of the cavern was alive with weirwood tendrils, their white bark glowing with a pale inner light. It looked like the inside of a heart. It felt like being swallowed. I tried to sit up, and that's when I noticed my leg. It wasn't my leg anymore. The wound was gone. The gangrene was gone. But what remained wasn't flesh and bone, not entirely. The skin had turned grey, shot through with black veins that pulsed with a faint blue light. When I tried to move my toes, I felt something else move with them. Something that lived in the space between my muscles, woven through my nerves like thread through fabric.
What did you do to me?
I saved you. Your bones were shattered, your flesh was rotting. So I replaced what was broken with something stronger. The roots of the old trees, the heart of the mountain. You're not fully human anymore, Vorian, but you're alive. Isn't that what you wanted? I wanted to argue. I wanted to scream. But when I actually stood on a leg that should have killed me, the words died in my throat. I felt strong, stronger than I'd ever been. The weakness was gone. The pain was gone. And when I stomped my foot against the stone floor, the impact cracked the rock beneath me. Impressive, isn't it? And this is just the beginning. The more you use it, the stronger you'll become. But power has a price. You remember that, don't you? The memories. Every time you call upon this strength, it will cost you a piece of your past. I don't choose what it takes, the power decides. It usually starts with what you love most. She gestured toward a wall of stone blocking the tunnel ahead, the only way out. Break through that and we can leave this place. It will cost you one memory, your choice whether to pay. And if I choose something I don't care about, something useless, you don't understand. You don't choose what to lose, you choose whether to lose. The power takes what it wants, what it needs. I stared at that wall for a long time. Behind it was the world. Behind it was Toran. Behind it was everything I'd been dreaming about since the gates closed in my face. One memory. That was the price. One memory to begin my revenge. Do it! I struck the wall, and the moment my fist connected, everything changed. Power surged through me, cold and hot at the same time, ancient and terrible and alive. The stone exploded outward like it was made of paper. Dust and debris filled the air, and somewhere in the back of my mind something tore. I saw her, my mother, standing in our kitchen flower on her hands, sunlight streaming through the window. She was smiling at me, that soft, warm smile she always had when I came home from playing in the fields. She was saying something, singing something, a lullaby she used to sing when the storms came. And then she started to fade. No, wait! I reached for her, tried to hold on to the memory, but it was like grasping smoke. Her face blurred, her voice dimmed, the words to her song scattered like leaves in the wind. Her name, what was her name? I can't. Gone. She was gone. Not just dead, she'd been dead for 16 years. But now she was erased. The hole she left behind wasn't filled with grief. It was filled with nothing, just empty space where a mother used to live. I know it hurts. The first one always does. What was her name? I can't remember my own mother's name. She's at peace now. And so are you. Think about it, was she still there anyway? The dead don't come back no matter how hard we remember them. All those memories did was remind you of what you'd lost. I wanted to push her away. I wanted to rage against what she'd taken from me. But there was nothing to rage about. The grief wasn't there anymore. The loss wasn't there anymore. Just emptiness. And in that emptiness, something else began to grow. Now you're free from that weight, free to focus on what matters. The man who did this to you. The man sleeping warm in his castle while you suffered in the snow. Torin. Yes, hold on to that name. That face. That's all you need now. Everything else is just noise. She was right. I hated that she was right. But the truth doesn't care what we want it to be. Losing my mother should have destroyed me. Instead, it felt like dropping a weight I'd been carrying too long. The sadness wasn't there to stop me anymore. The guilt wasn't there to hold me back. There was only the mission, only the target, only the face of the man I was going to kill. And somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered that this was exactly what she wanted, that I was walking into a trap I couldn't see. I ignored it. What choice did I have? I was already too far gone to turn back. I killed my way to Last Hearth. The power made it easy. Every enemy that fell cost me another piece of myself, but I had plenty of pieces to spare. A childhood friend's face, the taste of my first kiss, the sound of rain on a wooden roof. Small things, meaningless things. That's what I told myself. By the time I reached the gates, I'd lost count of what I'd sacrificed. But I still had his face. Torin. That was all that mattered. The siege was already in progress when I arrived. The dead had beaten me there, pouring through the breached walls like a tide of frozen flesh. I walked through the chaos like a ghost, cutting down anything that moved. White Walker or human, it made no difference. They were all just obstacles between me and my target. And when I finally found him, cowering in the courtyard, his horse dead beneath him, his guards scattered to the wind, I felt nothing. No triumph, no satisfaction, just a cold, empty purpose that demanded to be fulfilled. You know how it ended. You saw it at the beginning. The boot, the skull, the wet crack of bone surrendering to force. But what you didn't see was what came after. What I found when I searched his body. A journal. Leather-bound, weathered, stained with blood that might have been his or might have been someone else's. I don't know why I picked it up. Instinct, maybe. Or the last flicker of the soldier I used to be trained to gather intelligence, even in the heat of battle. The handwriting inside was cramped, frantic. The words of a man who knew he was running out of time. If you're reading this, I'm already dead. And the seal is already broken. That's how it started. That's how everything changed. The entity known as the Pale Singer is not a spirit, not a god, not a demon. She is what remains of the first green seers, those who merged with the weirwood so completely they forgot they were ever human. I kept reading, couldn't stop. Each word was a knife twisting deeper into my gut. She was sealed 3,000 years ago by an alliance of the first men. The seal has 3 components: the blood of the guardian families, the memories of the binding ritual, and the living lock, the Lord of Last Hearth. Guardian families. I knew what that meant. I knew whose blood ran through my veins. The old families. The families sworn to protect the North from what slept beneath the trees. My family. The seal cannot be broken by her directly. She needs a vessel, someone of guardian blood filled with enough hatred to kill the living lock without question, without hesitation, without realizing what they've truly done. I looked up from the journal. She was there, of course, standing in the ruins watching me with those endless void eyes, smiling. You knew, from the beginning. You knew about the seal, about my bloodline, about everything. Of course I knew. I've been watching your bloodline for 2,000 years, waiting for the right combination of desperation and hatred. And then there you were, a guilty man drowning in self-loathing, starving for someone to blame other than himself. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Torin wasn't my enemy. He was trying to keep you locked away. He was a lock. Locks don't have feelings. They just keep things closed until someone with the right key comes along. She stepped closer, and for the first time since we'd met, I saw her clearly. Not the mask she'd been wearing, the gentle savior, the understanding ally, the seductive patron. Just the thing beneath. Old, cold, empty. You were my key. And now the door is open. What happens now? You've got what you wanted. Why are you still here? Because you're useful. Because there are more seals. More locks. More enemies who thought they could keep me buried forever. Stay with me. Become what you were always meant to be, and I'll make you a god among men. And my memories, the ones you've taken, gone. Fed to the old trees, but memories can be recovered from the right sources. Kill my enemies and perhaps pieces of yourself might come back. A new deal. A new chain. She wasn't freeing me. She was just upgrading my cage. I looked down at the journal in my hands. Then at the body of the man I'd murdered. Then at the ruins of the fortress where innocent people had died because of my hatred. And I made a choice. No, you'd rather die alone, empty, forgotten. I'd rather be a monster who chooses his own prey. She didn't follow. Didn't try to stop me. Just stood there in the ashes, watching me walk away with that ancient smile still carved across her face. Run, little vessel. Run as far as you want. But you carry a piece of me inside you now, and eventually, all roads lead back to the forest. Maybe she was right. Maybe I couldn't escape her. Maybe I was already too far gone to save. But I had the journal. I had the names of the other seals, the other locks. And I had something I didn't have before, a purpose that was actually mine. Find the other guardians, warn them, and maybe, just maybe, find a way to lock her back up forever. Or die trying. Either way, I won't be forgotten. Either way, my story doesn't end here. They say the North remembers, but I've learned something darker. The North forgets. We all do. We forget the faces we loved, the promises we broke, the people we abandoned. Memory is just a story we tell ourselves, and stories can be rewritten. This is my story now, not hers. Mine. And I'm just getting started. And that's where part 1 ends, Vorian walking into the first light of dawn, with Torin's journal in his hands, refusing the Pale Singer's new chain. Even as her voice follows him like a curse, promising that every road leads back to the forest. This chapter was crafted to feel like true, dark fantasy revenge that tastes like ash power, that demands payment in memories, and a freedom that might just be a better-built cage. Now I want to hear from you. Did Vorian do the right thing by turning her down, or is he already too far gone to ever be human again? And what scares you more, the Pale Singer's patience, or the fact that Vorian is starting to like what he's becoming? Share your thoughts in the comments. We read everything, your theories, your favorite lines, your predictions. And if you want part 2, Vorian hunting the other seals, racing the clock before she finds him again, hit like and comment part 2 so we know you're ready for the next descent. Thanks for watching to the very end, and I'll see you in the next chapter.